The only conservative station in the Bay Area. Hot Talk 560, KSFO.
Two big topics. The appointment of John Kerry to the Secretary of State position without a single question being taken by Kerry, and Obama turning his posterior on the world as if to say, I'll do what I want. I'm the king. You can do what you want. I don't care. That's number one. Number two, the issue of putting a cop in every school to protect the children, which I called for last Friday right after the massacre. What I'm hearing is it's not a bad idea, but it's too expensive. And they run the numbers. And I'm saying you can pay for it without raising money from taxation in a number of ways. One is that the unions have to kick in some money since they're rolling in money. And certainly they want to protect our school children. So the teachers' unions can easily pay for this. That's number one. If that's not enough, you can also take some of the cops off desk duty, because whether you know it or not, a large percentage of police do nothing but sit in the office all day long, and you could start assigning them to schools instead of sitting in an office calculating their pensions. You can put them in schools. KSFO, San Francisco. Bill, you're on the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, setting aside the question of the cost of putting armed guards in schools, could you help me understand the impact that could potentially have on the psyche of kindergartners or first graders, where they're growing up in a society where they believe they need armed guards to keep them safe?
I think that's true. They do need armed guards to keep them safe. We live in a crazy society. And it's better that they learn that the police are their friend and that they should trust the police. I don't understand your question in a way, Bill. You're not alleging, and I know you're a reasonable man and you are concerned about children, you're not alleging that children aren't in danger in this society. They are. And you know that there are drug dealers that are like predators circling schools. There are crazy children on drugs, and then now we have the massacres occurring. What do you mean they'd be afraid of the police? The police are out in the street all the time, and children aren't afraid of them.
And we teach our children that the police are our friends. They're there to serve us. We should treat them with respect, and we should be thankful for their service. And that's not my point. I agree that unfortunately in this society there is danger. What I'm getting at is it's unfortunate that we have to take it to the next step, because now teaching our children the only way for you to be safe at school is for you basically to be going to an armed location. And I'm wondering, is there some other solution besides that? That's what I'm just saying.
Well, I don't have the other solution, not in the world that we currently live in, where there are armed gangbangers running around this country with AK-47s who no one is talking about disarming. You want to talk about disarmament, send the National Guard into the neighborhoods where we know the gangbangers are and have them disarm them of their automatic weapons. That would be a good start, instead of talking about the law-abiding citizen. But let's focus on the schools. Let us talk about the psychological effects of a policeman walking around in a school. Well, as it turns out, there are armed policemen in schools already. For example, in Oakland, California, a crime-ridden city, which is crime-ridden for a number of reasons, including the extreme liberalism of the mayor and the short number of officers, you have Oakland police officers walking through, for example, Oakland Technical High School with a pistol on his holster. The children aren't afraid of him. They actually feel better with him there because they know that they're safer with him there. I don't quite understand the trauma that you're implying, Bill.
I wasn't aware of that situation. I guess I must have charmed life because I grew up. It wasn't necessary to have armed guards in schools, Dr.
No, I agree with you. It wasn't necessary for me. There was no need for armed guards, but there are needs today. I mean, you can't. What you're saying in a way, and it's the pregnant question, which is, well, why do we need armed guards? And you say because people are coming to school with guns. Ipso facto, if there were no guns, there'd be no need for armed guards. I mean, that's what you're arguing in a way, aren't you?
Exactly. I mean,
no, I can read the logic. I mean, I have a logical mind, and I'm a student of logic. But the fact of the matter is, the argument falls flat for a number of reasons. One, there are millions of guns in circulation. If you want to talk about gun seizures, and you want to take it to the nth degree, you want to talk about the ramifications of what that would mean, Bill. I'll do that as well. I'm sorry, I did that last night on the show. Let's say Obama, by decree, decides he's God, and he says you must turn in all your guns, handguns, rifles, long guns, short guns, whatever. I demand that you do. I'm now God. I'm overriding the Second Amendment and the Supreme Court.
Right.
Practically, tell me what would happen.
Only the bad guys would have guns.
Well, so your own logic tells you that you know really what's going on, and I know that you're trying to really come to the right conclusion. But let's take it from the high school level to the young kids, and let's take your fears. You've got innocent young children sitting in the schoolroom. What would the effect be of an armed policeman walking around with a uniform, a badge, and a gun? I think the children would feel safer, frankly, rather than more frightened, because, the cat's out of the bag, Bill. Every child in America today, I don't think there's a child who's been shielded from what happened in Connecticut. I would think that every parent has sat down with their kids and talked to them about it by now. That would be my guess, and I would think children would be reassured to have an armed policeman walking around in schools.
Yeah, I think perhaps you're right. If it was appropriately explained to them as to why this was necessary and it was for their safety, over time they would get used to it. It's just a shame that that's what we would have to go to as a society.
Well, okay, that's a separate question, and I wouldn't argue with that. It's a shame, but let's go to Israel, for example. It's a civil society. The children are educated. There are armed guards in every school in Israel because of what the Palestinian murderers have done to Jewish children, targeting them for extermination. I'm sending you a copy of Train Tracks. It's an interesting read for the holidays. It's my new Christmas book.